The year is 2017, and the once mighty Crocs Incorporated finds itself teetering on the brink, its stock price plummeting to a dismal $6 per share. This financial precipice, marking a staggering decline from its earlier triumphs, reflected a market that had all but given up on the company. Yet, just 4 years later, a dramatic reversal would see those same shares skyrocket to an astonishing $180. How did a brand, widely dismissed as a purveyor of ugly footwear, orchestrate such an improbable comeback, and what hidden forces fueled this meteoric rise? We'll unravel the surprising truth behind this brand's unexpected journey from near obsolescence to a multi-billion-dollar enterprise, and later, we'll explore whether this dazzling rebound can truly endure. It's a common sentiment: Crocs shoes are visually unappealing. This isn't just anecdotal opinion. A recent study by Civic Science, a research firm, revealed that 46% of Americans consider all Crocs to be ugly, while an additional 23% find some styles unattractive. This means that over 2/3 of the population views at least certain, if not all, Crocs as aesthetically displeasing. Despite this widespread perception, the brand has experienced an extraordinary revival in recent years. By 2023, Crocs achieved its most successful year on record, selling 127 million pairs of shoes and generating a massive $3.3 billion in revenue. This explosion in popularity is largely attributable to younger demographics. The company's dramatic turnaround is starkly illustrated by its stock performance. Throughout the 2010s, Crocs was in a downward spiral, with financial analysts largely dismissing its prospects. Its share value bottomed out at a mere $6 in 2017. Against all expectations, the company's revenue and profits saw an unprecedented surge in 2020 and 2021. At its zenith in late 2021, Crocs stock reached an impressive $180 per share. While the price has retreated somewhat since then, it remains significantly higher than anyone would have predicted during its 2017 low point. This segment will delve into the origins of the Crocs shoe and examine the factors that led to its decline into obscurity in the late 2010s. Subsequently, we will explore the brand's unforeseen resurgence, particularly among younger consumers, and attempt to determine if this newfound popularity is sustainable or merely another fleeting trend. Crocs Incorporated was established in 2002, the same year it introduced its inaugural footwear model. The shoe style they produce is known as a clog, a straightforward design crafted from a rubber-like plastic material. Initially, the primary appeal of Crocs was their waterproof quality, making them an ideal choice for activities on beaches, boats, or any environment where feet might get wet. The brand name Crocs is a shortened form of crocodile, reflecting these amphibious creatures that thrive both in water and on land. Crocs quickly achieved commercial success, selling millions of pairs within its first few years. Initially, their customer base consisted primarily of beachgoers and individuals frequently exposed to water, but this core demographic was soon to undergo a significant transformation. In 2005, a Colorado couple, Sherry and Richard Schmelzer, launched a small venture that would profoundly impact the trajectory of the Crocs brand. Having purchased several pairs of Crocs for their children, Sherry noticed that the holes in the shoes were perfect for inserting decorative embellishments. She began crafting ornaments by hand, using clay and rhinestones, initially creating simple designs such as flowers and stars. These ornaments were sold online under the brand name Jibbitz and quickly gained immense popularity, particularly among children. Selecting personalized Jibbitz offered a means for kids to showcase their distinct personality and flair. The ornaments were also very affordable, initially priced at approximately $1 each, making them highly accessible. Middle and high school students would proudly display and compare their Jibbitz collections at school, creating social pressure. Children without Crocs or Jibbitz often felt excluded, prompting them to urge their parents to purchase a pair of the popular shoes. Crocs senior management swiftly recognized the immense potential of this accessory. In 2006, just 1 year after Sherry and Richard Schmelzer began producing Jibbitz from their home, Crocs acquired their company for $10 million. This acquisition served several strategic purposes. It established Jibbitz as the official ornamentation for the Crocs brand, ensuring they were sold alongside Crocs shoes in the same retail spaces. This significantly curtailed the market for counterfeit products. While anyone could create imitation shoe ornaments, it was incredibly difficult to compete with the official Jibbitz brand, especially since Jibbitz retailed for only $1.99. Few consumers would opt for a knockoff to save a mere 50 cents. Secondly, the acquisition enabled Crocs to pursue collaborations with prominent brands like Disney to produce co-branded Jibbitz. Most major brands would be reluctant to partner with an aftermarket company, but they were far more willing to work with Jibbitz due to its official affiliation with the Crocs brand. Shortly after the Jibbitz acquisition in 2006, Crocs conducted an initial public offering on the New York Stock Exchange. From its very inception, Crocs footwear was frequently mocked for its appearance. An article from CNN Money published on the day of their IPO even referred to Crocs as the manufacturer of the world's ugliest shoe. So, why do people choose to wear Crocs despite their often criticized aesthetic? The target audience is a crucial consideration. Particularly with the introduction of Jibbitz, Crocs became immensely popular among middle school children. The fashion sensibilities of preteens often differ significantly from those of adults. Another key factor contributing to their appeal is their exceptional comfort. They are effortless to put on and take off, and the soft plastic material further enhances their comfortable feel. In its early years, Crocs Incorporated was highly profitable. In 2006, the company generated $355 million in revenue. With a cost of goods sold of $154 million, this resulted in a gross profit of $201 million, or 57% of revenue. This represents an exceptionally high profit margin, especially considering the shoes retailed for approximately $30 a pair. Crocs are remarkably simple to produce. The classic Crocs clogs are made solely from plastic and can be manufactured using injection molding. This process involves pouring molten plastic into a mold to achieve the desired shape. Once the injection molding machine is configured, it is relatively straightforward to operate, requiring only a few workers. The footage we are currently viewing, while not from an actual Crocs factory, demonstrates the injection molding process used by a knockoff brand producing similar shoes. Crocs are manufactured in a very similar fashion. In contrast, more conventional shoe types are far more complex to produce, utilizing multiple materials and precluding the use of injection molding. For instance, observing the operations within a New Balance shoe factory reveals a multitude of machines, yet these are considerably more intricate in their function. Even today, some elements of their shoes still require hand stitching, demanding significantly more labor and thus incurring higher costs. The majority of Crocs shoes are produced in China and Southeast Asia, regions known for lower wages. For their classic clogs, the production cost is extremely low, likely only $1 or $2 per pair. The bulk of the expense is attributed to shipping, warehousing, and retailer markups. These low production costs enable Crocs to maintain high gross margins despite relatively modest retail prices. The comparatively low retail prices also diminish the competitive threat from unauthorized imitations. While Crocs holds a patent for the specific plastic material they employ, numerous similar plastic types are available to competitors. A quick search on Amazon reveals many knockoff clogs. For example, clogs from a brand called Gatpot closely resemble Crocs. They retail for $20, whereas genuine Crocs sell for $34. While this offers a saving of $14, it's not a substantial amount, leading most consumers to opt for the authentic product. By the early 2010s, Crocs management grew concerned that their product line was becoming stale. Their original clogs, particularly with Jibbitz, were very popular, but they feared this could be a transient trend. It is inherently risky for any company to rely entirely on a single product that undergoes little change year after year. Consequently, in the early 2010s, they began introducing dozens of new shoe styles, most of which bore little resemblance to their original clogs. For instance, in 2012, they launched a new line of winter boots. Without seeing the small logo on the back, most consumers would have no idea these boots were a Crocs product. These boots were not waterproof and did not align with the established Crocs brand identity. Almost all of the non-clog shoes Crocs produced proved to be commercial failures, generating disappointing sales figures. Consumers were confused. They would enter a Crocs store expecting to find clogs and instead encounter a wide array of different shoe styles. The expansion into new shoe categories was also very costly. Their simple clogs were inexpensive to produce via injection molding. Their newer models, however, were often far more complex, requiring different materials and more labor-intensive manufacturing processes. Significant expenses were also incurred in designing these new shoe models and establishing the necessary supply chains. Most of the new shoe models were sold in such limited quantities that they failed to recoup these substantial investments. Let's now examine Crocs' reported financial performance in the early to mid-2010s. Revenue reached its peak in 2014 at $1.2 billion, a 20% increase over the $1 billion generated in 2011. Despite this robust revenue growth, gross profit remained relatively flat, and operating income plummeted from $132 million in 2011 to just $29 million in 2014. In each of the subsequent 3 years, revenue declined, falling back to $1 billion by 2017. Now, let's look at the number of shoes they sold annually. In 2011, they sold 48 million pairs of shoes. In 2015, their unit sales peaked at 58 million pairs. By 2017, they still sold 58 million pairs. In terms of the sheer volume of shoes sold, they appeared to be performing quite well. The underlying issue, however, was the average selling price. In the early 2010s, they generated $22 in revenue for each pair of shoes sold. By 2017, this figure had dropped to just $17. It's important to remember that the average retail price is higher than this, as Crocs sells its shoes to retailers at wholesale prices. So, why did their average selling price decline? Crocs massively overestimated demand for their new shoe models. They produced far too many, and consequently, were unable to sell them at full price. They were forced to heavily discount their inventory to clear out bloated stockpiles. Increasingly, they relied on outlet malls to offload their unwanted shoes at rock-bottom prices. Emboldened by the success of their original clogs, Crocs mistakenly believed they had established a general footwear brand and that consumers would purchase anything they created. This assumption was clearly flawed. Crocs manufacturing winter boots is as incongruous as Nike deciding to produce high heels. As the company's profits collapsed, so too did its stock price. At its lowest point in 2017, Crocs' share price plunged to just $6, giving the company a market capitalization of approximately $400 million, barely above penny stock status. In 2017, the company desperately needed a strategic overhaul, leading to the appointment of a new CEO, Andrew Rees. Rees recognized the company's past missteps and rationalized their unwieldy product portfolio. He eliminated most of their sneakers, boots, and other products that were expensive to manufacture and sold poorly. The company would return to its core competency of injection molding, focusing exclusively on their classic clogs and variations thereof, all crafted from plastic. However, this strategy presented its own set of challenges. If the brand stuck solely to its tried and true, inexpensive plastic shoes, how would it innovate? Eventually, the brand risked becoming stale, leading to a loss of consumer interest. The solution Crocs adopted to maintain consumer engagement involved brand partnerships, celebrity endorsements, and limited edition releases. They leveraged artificial scarcity to generate consumer hype and a sense of urgency to purchase. Limited edition Crocs have evolved into a collector's item, with some individuals accumulating dozens or even hundreds of pairs, most of which they will likely never wear. One of their most peculiar collaborations was with Kentucky Fried Chicken. In 2020, they launched KFC-branded Crocs, which included Jibbitz shaped like chicken wings. These retailed for $60, and only a few thousand pairs were produced, selling out within seconds of their launch. Today, these can be found on the secondary market for $169, nearly triple their original price. Another bizarre partnership involved Balenciaga. For those with $1,300 to spare, co-branded Balenciaga Crocs are available. Many of these limited edition Crocs are purchased without any intention of being worn. Collectors might display them on their walls or hope to resell them to another buyer for a higher price. With their customizable Jibbitz and numerous styles, Crocs offer a unique avenue for individuals to express their individuality. Previously, this was predominantly observed among children in schoolyards. However, with the rise of social media platforms like TikTok, young adults are now also utilizing Crocs as a means to garner attention. The recent survey from Civic Science offers fascinating insights into Crocs' customer demographics. When examining individuals who own and enjoy Crocs, the distribution across age groups is relatively even. 23% of Americans aged 18 to 24 own and like Crocs, while 18% of Americans over 55 report the same. However, purchasing intent tells a very different story. 18% of Americans aged 18 to 24 stated they are likely to buy Crocs within the next 3 months, compared to only 7% of Americans over 55. What do these figures indicate? In the past, Crocs were purchased by all age groups, primarily for their comfort and practicality. However, the brand's recent surge in popularity has been predominantly driven by the younger demographic, often referred to as the TikTok generation. Let's revisit Crocs unit sales and average selling prices. Crocs sales truly began to accelerate in 2021. By 2023, they sold an impressive 127 million pairs of Crocs, nearly double the number sold in 2020. The average selling price also saw a significant increase. At its lowest point in 2017, they generated only $17 for each pair sold. By 2023, this figure had risen to $26. There is indeed massive demand for Crocs, far exceeding any previous period. In 2023, the Crocs brand alone generated $3.3 billion in revenue, by far their highest ever. Now, let's examine their consolidated financial results. In 2022, Crocs Incorporated acquired a shoe brand called Hey Dude, which contributes approximately $900 million in annual sales. On a consolidated basis, Crocs Incorporated generated $4.1 billion in revenue in 2023 and reported an operating profit of $1 billion. The resurgence of the Crocs brand has, not surprisingly, fueled a substantial increase in the company's share price. As of the time of this recording, Crocs' share price stands at $88, more than 10 times its trough value in 2017. This, of course, raises the critical question: is the company's recent success sustainable? One potential risk is that Crocs may have become overly reliant on its limited edition, co-branded drops. While these likely represent a small percentage of overall sales, they generate significant social media hype. The importance of social media buzz should not be underestimated, especially given that the brand disproportionately caters to the TikTok generation. The Crocs narrative bears some uncanny resemblances to the story of Nike. In the late 2010s and early 2020s, Nike heavily emphasized limited edition sneakers, which were quickly snatched up by collectors and speculators. Eventually, they oversaturated the market, and consumer interest waned, leading to declining revenue and profits. Since its peak in 2021, Nike shares have lost 2/3 of their value. While Crocs and Nike are distinct brands, making a similar fate far from guaranteed for Crocs, it is a factor worth considering. What are your thoughts on Crocs? Let us know in the comments section below. Thank you for watching.